Hello and welcome to another episode of Witches and Wine, and I am your hostess with the mostest, Lola Stardust. This is a show where we talk about witchy stuff and we drink wine, because who doesn't love wine?
We know we love wine.
We love wine, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
We like our wine.
We like a lot of wine.
Don't judge.
No judging here. So, before we start today's topic, let's talk about the wine that we're drinking with our resident wine connoisseur, Silenus Stardust. Take it away, sweetie.
Hi, guys. Tonight, we're drinking Vistamar's Corte de Campo. It is a red blend comprising of Cabernet Sauvignon, Carmenere, Petit Syrah, and Petit Verdot.
Ooh.
It is grown in the Cachapoal Valley region in Chile. Very, very nice bottle. It's got flavors of blueberry, and then it's got some herbaceousness with some rosemary and then some cedar, not an oaking. Very nice, very elegant, very, very dark and purple. You know, you're talking garnet in color.
It's yummy.
And the reason it was chosen for tonight is finding the right balance, finding things to make them blend together and work for you.
Because we're going to be talking about the deities that we work with personally and in our coven. We are in a coven called Children of the Crossroads, and if anyone knows what the Crossroads are, you know that that deity is the one and only Hekate. So here's our Hekate, our beautiful Hekate. This I got a couple years ago.
Like 3 years ago now?
3 years ago. So much detail. So I wish you could see it. Look at the hounds and the skull, and then the back is just the back of the hounds, and she's got the snake going up, and the faces on the hood. So we work with Hekate. We decided to work with Hekate as a coven. It was kind of my decision, but it was agreed upon because I had been working with Hekate for a while. So we knew when we formed the coven, Hekate would be our patron goddess. But we were still deciding who would be the patron god. And I'd like to share the story about how that came about.
Oh, good.
So me and a few other members of Children of the Crossroads were in a coven before this, People of the Woods. And we had been having some circles, our espits. And at one point in the circle, I saw in the corner a man. I saw Pan sitting in the corner, and he had his furry legs crossed, and he's sitting in the corner kind of biting his nails, like he's just like, what's up, what, kind of waiting. So I thought, because spring was coming, this was last February, I believe, or the February of 2017, right around Embolic. So I thought, oh, well, spring's coming, Pan is waiting. So I come back home and I'm talking to my husband about, when we start our new coven, we already know Hekate, and, we got to think of a patron god, blah, blah, blah. And then time went by, and we're in circle at People of the Woods, and it kept happening. And then other members who are now in our coven with us, they were seeing Pan too, and we're thinking, oh, spring's here, summer's here, he's ready to play, blah, blah, blah. like an idiot, I'm not getting the message. As it's getting closer to the end of the year, having more conversations, who should our patron god be? And we had talked about, we wanted the balance with Hecate's darkness. We thought about Dionysus, but we're like, that's way too much lunacy, and
too much constant. Oh my God, the roller coaster.
So then we were thinking Apollo. Apollo would be really cool, the sun and all that. And I went back to a People of the Woods circle, and I saw Pan again, and it hit me. I'm like, Pan is not here because of summer or spring. Pan is waiting for us. Pan had been waiting for us for a long time, and we all kind of realized that, duh, it's Pan, and it made perfect sense, the balance between the two. So I'd like to turn this over for a little bit to Silenus, my husband. He is newer to the craft. He hasn't been part of the craft for a long time. So he is a dedicant in our coven, and he's the only man in our coven. So he gets to be the priest. He's been thrown into a lot really quick, and I admire how well he's doing. So why don't you show Pan and talk about your relationship with Pan? And
well, here's our statue of Pan for our house in our coven. You can see the horn god.
So cool.
Got his pan pipes, cloven feet, shaggy legs.
And his little penis.
Yes, and of course his little penis. It's in there if you look real close.
Because we have.
And then he's got roses, and he's sitting on a piece of wood. So very, very
he's awesome.
Outdoorsy Pan
and
energy.
His pan pipes, they come out.
Yeah, they're removable.
So cool.
So with Pan, I was a person that was not big into religion, the concepts of it. I had Lola had joined a coven.
That's just our dogs. It's because I put the statue back. Okay.
And with that, I started attending their family-friendly functions, not their closed aspects. And I heard a phrase of, you feel like you've come home. And I kept hearing it from people that were in the pagan Wiccan faiths. And the more I started learning about it, the more I started understanding what they were talking about. For the first time in my life, I had actually felt some form of spirituality. And it was drawn in. And at first I was like, well, I'm not a witch. But the energy of paganism, it speaks to me. Being in touch with nature, respecting both male and female, the balance of light and dark. These are all things that I've already experienced in life and had always reveled in. I like seeing both sides of the situations. With that, when I started learning about Pan, I said, "Oh my goodness, this deity is me. I am Pan. I like to have fun. Merriment. I want to be out. I want to be out running around. I want to be free. I don't want to be pinned down all the time."
He likes the outdoors.
Yeah.
He likes working with nature. Yeah.
And so when I started learning about him, and it just spoke to me, and then right when I started studying him, it became, oh my God, how come I have not known what the name was? Where I would experience deity through other avenues. When I was early in life, I didn't realize that's what I was doing.
LSD.
Amongst other things. And what I get now is when I am dealing with his energy, whether it's invoked or having him evoked around us, when he is present, not just in the ambient sense of he's always present, but when he is fully focusing energy in this house, there's a giddiness that comes around. And it's the same giddiness I would get in that euphoria.
So, tell them about working invocation. He had never done invocation before. So we, again, so proud of him. We threw him into this, but I knew he'd be great because when he started studying Pan and I started seeing the similarities between him and Pan. And so we did I think the first time was just a little ritual that you and I did alone.
Yeah, we did that for our son.
No, did we?
Yeah.
It was just me and you.
It was me, you, and we did it for him because he was having the issues with the...
Yes, so you invoked Pan, and do you remember how that felt the first time invoking?
Well, I've seen Lola invoked, I've seen other people invoked, and the concept to me was interesting but scary, the whole idea of allowing another entity mindset to enter my physical form. And I didn't understand how you run alongside them in the process. Where I'm thinking, oh, you're invoking them. You're you're giving up control of yourself to someone else, and that didn't sit well with me. The concept of it, I'm like, well, no, I
Did you think it was like possession or something,
well,
or
I don't. I mean, in a sense, like possession, but I knew that you have the ability to devoke because I've seen everyone who's invoked devoke. But at the same time, it's not having experienced that energy willfully, bringing it in. I was curious, but I was apprehensive. So when we finally did it, and I invoked Pan, I had this feeling of energy, this feeling of power coursing throughout me. But on top of that, I actually felt a physical transformation. I felt my muscles on my shoulders get bigger in my arms. I felt myself, get buff up, so to speak. I felt my legs became furry. Like I had fur, not just hair. And the weirdest one is I felt canines growing in my mouth, more bestial. And it was interesting because it wasn't uncomfortable, but it was definitely not how I normally feel. And anyone that's invoked understands what I'm talking about. And for those of you who haven't, it's definitely a unique experience. And over my right shoulder, I believe on camera, you're seeing my son, our son Cole. So
watch out for the wine on the floor, Cole.
Just
hand me the wine.
Ignore him. He wants to be part of this and listen in because he was present that night.
Yeah.
And for him, he couldn't believe that here's his mom and dad.
Be careful with those,
But
please.
here's not his mom and dad at the same time.
Yeah, he
I was like
kind of freaked out a little.
Yeah, I was like, all of a sudden my parents are now not my parents. I'm not feeling safe with people or this stuff I don't know.
But you felt safe eventually.
Yeah, at the same time. Yeah, eventually I felt safe.
It was a little weird for him. He's never seen us invoke before, so it was a little strange for him to see.
It was my first time invoking, period.
Yeah.
So I hadn't seen this. I hadn't experienced it. So he was seeing my curiousness, my wonderment with it, and he was trying to adjust to, hold on, what's going on here? So since then, progressing forward into our
And
coven.
can I say real quick, when he invokes Pan, and one of our coven members pointed it out at Spring Mysteries when we did a ritual. You got to be careful with those, honey. Okay. He sways and he does this thing with his legs, and she said,
I can't hold still when I'm holding Pan's energy
because Pan doesn't like the human legs, and you're trying to adjust to the beast legs, and that makes so much sense because every time he invokes Pan, his legs are moving. He can't stay still. He wants to run. He doesn't want to be stuck. He wants to just run.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go have an adventure. Let's go experience. Let's go do things, and it's fun. It's childlike, but at the same time, it's man energy. Mm-hmm. It's very, very visceral male energy, and with the strength of Hecate's power and female goddess energy, and then the pure masculinity of Pan, it really brings a balance to our coven.
And we I can't even put it into words. The first time that we did it with the coven and brought Hekate and Pan into our circle, it just made so much sense. And it's helped us as a married couple. It's just a great combination, just having Pan and Hekate present, not only in the circle, but in our home, in our family.
Yeah, and with it, we're constantly having their presence around us. So we constantly have their protection and their insights. At the same time, we have to fight off their...
We self-invoke.
Yeah, sometimes. And
they like to come and visit us when we're not even trying to invoke. Especially Pan and him.
And that's part of my greenness as a priest, is learning how to prevent this from happening. Where I try, but I feel his energy coming on, and I just I'll be honest, I kind of succumb to it because I enjoy his energy. It's very much how my personality when I am in happy and good moods. Mm-hmm. This is who I am naturally.
Yeah.
And then just like Pan, when I'm not in good moods, I am not in good moods.
Yeah.
And so getting both sides of it, it's interesting because once again we got the balance.
So, I think it really represents a lot of our personalities. I'm a very light, jovial person, but anyone who knows me really well knows that is just one layer of me. I'm very much, I love happiness and I love love and I love to make people laugh, but there are many layers like there is to many people. I think sometimes people are a bit surprised that I connect with Hekate so well. I think they think Hekate is a more serious deity, and I'm not serious. But I've had a relationship with Hekate for so long, I can't imagine not having her in my life. She has told me that it's okay, the dark thoughts that I've had and the dark places that I've come from, the darkness that I've seen in life, and that she has taught me to always thank the dark times and always thank those times where you're at rock bottom, and just say thank you. And it's what's made me who I am. And Hekate has really helped me in a therapeutic way. I think the dark energy of her, there's so much more to her, like there is to any of us. She's not just the dark mother. She is everywhere. She is all-knowing. She is, she's that energy and that magic that is in between everything. She is like a matter of liquid that kind of runs through and surrounds everything. And she's all elements, I've learned. She's water, she's earth, she's air, and she's fire. I mean, Pan is earth. And I always associated Hekate with earth and water mostly. But she's so much fire and so much air. So
yeah, the wisdom of looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
For the air side, the thinking about what the lessons are. Where, since Lola has worked with Hekate, I have, experienced her energy around the house, not just through Lola, but just in general. We have done meditations, and in my meditation, I experienced Hekate, and it wasn't a Hekate-driven meditation, so to speak. That was the deity that came to me, and so that was interesting because that was one of the first times that I didn't focus on a deity. A deity came to me freely to speak to me, and so, and I like Lola. While I seem jovial and fun, and I enjoy the dark as well.
We're very dark people. Yeah. As we laugh.
We don't present all the time, but for those that get to really know us, they experience it, and sometimes it surprises them, but the more they know us, the more they realize
it makes sense.
It makes sense. Because we experience and enjoy both sides of life. Because without enjoying the bad, how do you appreciate the good?
And we like to push the limits to how much of the darkness that we can enjoy, but we always know to come back.
We respect it. We're not blind to the downside of the dark side of the darkness, but at the same time, we want to learn from it and experience it because there is power, there is guidance, there is things to be learned, and Pan and Hekate give us both that energy as well as the light energy. We're reminded to have mirth, enjoy life, be free. Don't get bogged down.
And we also know that there's reverence in life. And there's those times when there's stuff that happens that shakes the foundation of our family sometimes. And we always know that we'll get through it. And a lot of that is because of Hekate and her torches. And she always guides us back to the light. Watching our kid in the background. He's our witchy child, definitely.
Yeah.
So,
the other one, on the other hand.
Your name, Silenus. Can you explain where you got the name Silenus from?
When I was first looking into paganism, Wiccanism, whatever you want to go after, I had gone by another name, and it was a name that was appropriate for me, but it didn't fully resonate. And when I started looking for a name, I had looked at a handful of different things. Nothing spoke to me. And then I was doing research into children of Pan, and I came across Silenus. Well, it turns out Silenus is one of Pan's sons, and his was the god of debauchery and winemaking, of all things, hence the witches and wine.
Toast, wine.
As it turns out, Silenus also became close friends with Dionysus and actually taught Dionysus how to make wine.
He was his mentor.
He was his mentor and his close friend.
And my husband works at a wine store.
So I sell wine for a living.
And he talks about wine all day. That's why he's our wine connoisseur.
And I enjoy wine.
And debauchery.
And debauchery and having fun and being free. And but at the same time, I'm protective of my flock. We jokingly call our coven, because I'm the only male, we call it my harem. It's not really, but that's just the joke. But
Pan loves that.
Pan, when I invoke, he is very happy to see all his witches.
Oh, he loves his women,
and
his
Hekate
witches.
just shakes her head.
And Hekate wants to get to the point. She's like, let's get down to business, which is very much like our marriage. Mm-hmm. I'm like, let's get down to business. I
was like, there's time for that. Well, let's go have some fun, and we'll get to that when it's time.
Yes.
And so
it works really well.
Yes, it does.
It works very, very well. So we just wanted to have this episode be about the deities we work with.